The American dream is dead. At least that's what I keep hearing.
And so it becomes increasingly hard for many families to be able to attain that sort of middle-class lifestyle, that American dream.
Hate to break it to you, but statistically speaking, you'll never be able to afford the American dream.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
But why do people keep saying that? And is it true? Is the dream of owning a home, raising 2.5 kids on a single income, and having a chill night with the boys in the alley actually dead?
Yep.
You don't even know what we were talking about.
No, the dream is not dead, but it might be harder. But before I get into why it's still possible for the average family, I want to talk about why people say that it isn't. Remember the good old days? When all you had to do to be successful in life was graduate high school and get a job at the machine factory down the road. Back when things were affordable. You could buy the newest model Buick, the perfect house in the suburbs, and do it all on a single income. Okay, I don't actually remember because I wasn't even born yet, but I've heard, okay? I've heard about it. In fact, all I've heard is how good it used to be, and the generation that got to enjoy the American dream is the same generation that destroyed it for the next. Thanks to those boomers, their policies, and their reckless pursuit of capitalism, the generations that followed were completely screwed. Now, to be clear, this is not my personal opinion, this is just what gets fed to us. And this message resonates with people because it removes the weight of responsibility off their shoulders. It's not your fault. It's the politicians, the economy, Trump's tariffs, billionaire space cowboys, and boomers. Don't forget about the boomers. Why bother trying to get ahead when the cards are stacked against you? And don't get me wrong, it feels great to blame others for your own inadequacies. That's one of my favorite hobbies. It's not my fault that I'm built like Jim Halpert before he became an action star. It's not my poor diet and lack of consistent exercise. It's my crap genetics. But there's a problem with these people who are spouting off at the mouth saying the American dream is dead. Not only do they steal the hope of average Americans, they don't offer any solutions to the problem. Now, I'm going to do the opposite today and prove to you that the American dream is not dead. There are things you and any other average person can do to put yourself on the path towards living the American dream. Now, the way I see it, there are 3 major things that are keeping Americans from living the American dream. And 2 out of the 3 of the things I'm going to talk about personally affected me and my wife. And the first one, I'm sure it affects you because it affects almost every American today. It used to be one of my biggest weaknesses, and it took a huge mindset shift for us to kind of break the status quo on this one. You see these everywhere. They're in driveways, stoplights. Americans have millions, if not billions of dollars of debt in these, and it's cars. We love our cars. We love the muscle, we love the speed, we love the smell of the gas, and I think that pushes us to want to buy newer, nicer cars. We're caught off guard by the safety standards and the new features, and I think everyone's just obsessed with buying new cars. But buying a car with borrowed money from a bank is one of the worst things that you can do if you're trying to live the American dream. Not only is it expensive to pay interest on a loan, I mean, if you're to buy a $30,000 car, you're going to end up paying $5,000 just for the benefit of borrowing money from the bank. But borrowing money to buy a car gives you the option to buy a car that you have no business owning just because you can afford the monthly payment for it. If you have a car payment, I want you to think about the car you're driving now. It's probably newer, it's nicer, and it's got a nice big payment attached to it. Now I want you to think about the car you'd be driving if you had to save up in cash before you bought it. Are they the same car? Are they even in the same class of vehicle? The cars people buy in cash are usually 10 to 15 years old. They've got a few miles on them, and they're really just a much more reasonable car. The car I drive right now is a 1998 Toyota Camry, and that's all I could afford at the time. And the reason I haven't gone and purchased a bigger car is because sure, I could walk up to any dealership, probably get a minivan with more room for the kids that we want to have, and get a nice $600, $700 payment, but that keeps me from doing the thing that I want to do, which is live in a home, live on a single income, and pursue the American dream. So if you can find a way to either pay your car off or pay for your next car in cash, I think that puts you one step closer to actually living the American dream. Number 2 on the list affects probably just the same amount of people as the car stuff, maybe more. I'm very thankful this didn't really affect me and my wife, but when it comes to the American dream, this is holding people down, and it's in the news articles, it's on TV shows, it's everywhere. And getting this thing used to afford you the life that you wanted. It used to be a guarantee, as long as you get this, then you will live the American dream, and that is the college degree. Now, I've seen some people that say that getting a college degree is just unreasonable today. Here's a clip for you right now.
If a student wants to get a higher education, their only options are to have wealthy parents or go into backbreaking debt.
Now, I think there are a few more options to get a degree than what that guy is letting on to, and I want to share them with you. So the first one is community college. Everyone looks down on community college or junior college or maybe just going to a state school. A lot of states right now are saying, if you come to our community college, we'll cover your tuition. So if you can swallow the pride pill of not going to a massive party school like WVU or University of Tennessee and just go to a nice local community college, at the end of the day, you're gonna get a degree and it's gonna cost you way less money. But let's say you're not sold on the community college, you wanna get the full college experience at one of the big name schools. Well, every year, there's a certain amount of money that goes unclaimed in scholarships. And I actually don't know that number, so I'm gonna pull it up right now. All right, I just found it. So nearly $100 million in scholarships go unclaimed every single year just because people aren't applying for the scholarships. They haven't looked into it, they've never heard of it, they don't want to write the one-page essay they have to do to apply. So if you're watching this video and you haven't signed up for college yet and you're thinking about it in the next couple of years, you need to make it your full-time job to find these scholarships. Find the money out there. Find people who are willing to pay for you to go to school just by filling out an application. There are so many more options than just signing up for the student loans and having these minimum payments that are going to prevent you from living the American dream. Now, I think this last one is the biggest one, and it has directly affected me and my wife until we figured out a way to get past it. Just about 5 years ago, we're living in a home that we could not afford. We were young, we were excited about buying a house. We had a little bit of money from a family member that we were going to use for our down payment, and we just decided these are the things we want in a home. We want 4 bedrooms, we want a backyard, we want to live in a nice neighborhood. Those things felt like non-negotiables to us. So we borrowed a bunch of money, we got a big mortgage, had a huge monthly payment, and it was only affordable if we were both working. Now that's incompatible with this idea of the American dream, having a home that you love that's on one income. But I think we've gotten this messed up in life because, you know, we see giant houses on Instagram, social media influencers that have just blown up and they can afford these big, beautiful homes. We see people on Instagram who are maybe just a little bit older than us. They're in their 40s and they have a nicer home because they've been making money longer. And it's created these ideals of a house that really aren't realistic. So one of the things that we had to change in our mindset when we bought the house that we live in now, which by the way is affordable on just my income alone, was it may not be perfect. It may not be where we want to stay forever. It doesn't have a big yard. It's a townhome. And these are just things that people don't think about, changing the ideals of what they think they need in a house. So there's this idea of the median price of a house in the United States, which is about $416,000. And if you compare that to the median salary, which is only about $60,000 for the US, those are completely incompatible. But the idea of median means there's something below that price. There's houses way above it, and then there's houses that cost a lot less than the median price, and that's where you're gonna have to look. So that's what we did. We looked at townhomes. Those are a lot less than the median price of a house in the country. So if a normal house, single family home, is gonna be more like $400 to $450 in our area, a townhome was more like $300 to $350. That's $100,000 less. And that is what we had to do to live out what our idea of an American dream is today. It's a cheaper house, it has less bedrooms, it doesn't have a big yard, but it's what fits our needs today. So as you're looking for a home in the price range of the salary that you have, you might have to lower expectations. You might have to buy an apartment or a condo or a townhome or a house that's further out from the city that you work in. And that's what I mean when I say the American dream is still possible, but it is harder. You're not gonna be able to have a car payment. You're not gonna be able to live with student loans, and you're not gonna be able to live in your dream home at first. And that's okay, and that's where we can learn to be content with the things that we have.